What is up, King? All I can say is wow right now. I am physically tired and exhausted, mentally exhausted, and I didn't go 12 rounds with either Tyson Fury or Oleksandr Usyk, but wow, was that ever a fight. If you haven't heard by now, Oleksandr Usyk won a split decision over Tyson Fury in one of the best heavyweight title fights you will ever see, in the process becoming the first undisputed heavyweight champion since Lennox Lewis in 1999. He also becomes the first undisputed champion in the four-belt era because he wins the WBC's belt and adds that to the IBF, WBA, and WBO belts he already had. He's also the lineal champion. I'm assuming he is going to be the ring champion, and he's the Turkey Al Sheikh champion. He's got the undisputed belt, and he is the man. And it was a classic fight. I want to go through a couple of fights, just mention a couple of fights that I think this fight is right there with that happened in my lifetime. Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier fights 1 and 3. Both of them were classic fights. Riddick Bowe-Evander Holyfield. I covered that at the Thomas and Mack Center in Las Vegas. And boy, was that ever a fight. Larry Holmes defeating Ken Norton, the 15th round, maybe the greatest round in heavyweight history. Those two stood in the center of the ring and they just traded and went at it. Lennox Lewis against Vitali Klitschko in 2003, the final fight for the great Lennox Lewis. Tyson Fury versus Deontay Wilder in 2021, or excuse me, 2021, their third fight. That was a sensational battle, just an unbelievable fight. Anthony Joshua versus Vladimir Klitschko a few years ago. That was a big fight in Anthony Joshua's career, and that was a really good rock'em sock'em type of fight, if you remember that one. And then lastly, Ali and George Foreman. That one wasn't as good a fight as the other ones were, but because of the significance of Ali going to Africa and then beating George Foreman when no one gave him a chance, it always makes that stand out. And I think Usyk and Tyson Fury, they stand right there with all those other great fights. Those were some of the best fights in boxing history, and I think this fight today stands the test of time with those fights. Usyk came out and he looked good in the first 2 rounds. Then Fury, give Fury a lot of credit. Boy, he really had a good game plan. He went to the body very hard. He was hurting Usyk to the body rounds 3 through 7. He was really ripping him up to the body, but he was also pushing a really good pace. Usyk didn't know where it was coming from, and you thought maybe he was about to break. But the thing that I think makes Oleksandr Usyk so great is that when the chips are down, when he absolutely has to have it, what does he do? He steps up his game, and that's what he did in this case. And he sweeps rounds 8, 9, 10, and 11 on 2 of the 3 judges' cards. And in those 4 rounds, he gets a 5-point edge because he knocked down Tyson Fury in the 9th round and nearly finished him. So he gets a 5-point advantage on 2 judges' cards in those rounds, and that really turned out to be the difference in the fight. Usyk just had to have it, and he stepped up and he got it. And I thought he was kind of tiring after the 7th round. You know, he was carrying Fury's weight a lot. He was taking those big body shots. There was just immense pressure on him. And you had to think at one point, is he wondering, is this slipping away from me? Fury was racking up rounds and was up on all 3 cards. 2 of the cards had Fury up 68-65 after 7. The third one had it 67-66. And the fight just seemed to be going the big man's way. And you thought, you know what, he's going to break Usyk and he'll probably stop him 10 or 11, something like that. But no, Oleksandr Usyk isn't that guy. Usyk stepped it up in round 8, and he pushed the pace even more. That conditioning he showed was incredible. And he was able to push, and he came back, and he ends up winning the fight. And of course, there's going to be a rematch. Saw a lot of people upset at Fury's reaction. Fury said that he thought a lot of the fans and a lot of the people thought Usyk won because his country, Ukraine, is at war, and they were siding with the guy whose country is at war. And I just don't buy that. I think that people were watching the fight, and it was a really compelling back and forth fight. And I don't think that anybody was sitting there saying, well, yeah, let's give it to Ukraine. I don't see that being the case, you know, but I don't fault Tyson Fury because he put his heart and soul into this. I mean, 35 years old. He was 34-0-1. He suffered an unbelievable cut in training. He had really come off that horrible performance against Francis Ngannou. A lot of people were questioning him, and guess what? He raised his game. Tyson Fury went up another level today. It was just he fought a guy that on this day was that much better than him. Will they fight twice? Yes, I'm sure they will fight twice. Could they fight 3 times? You know what? It would not surprise me whatsoever. It wouldn't surprise me if they both fought 2 more times and then retired. So they would have a winner in their series, however it would come out, and then walked away from the sport, because what else will there be to do if they beat each other up for another 24 rounds or so? But that fight in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia today was unbelievable. And I want to close with this point. This is what boxing can be and should be. And you promoters who are out there who are putting appearance fights on and steering your guy away from the big fights, shame on you. And this is what you get when you make the best fight the best, and you have 2 guys who really care about winning and who really care about cementing their legacy. They put on an all-time classic, they raised their game, and in the process they raised the sport. We've had 3 undisputed championship fights in May. Can you imagine that? How incredible is that? This one by far was the best of them all. Canelo Alvarez on May 4th defeated Jaime Munguia in a good fight. Munguia got dropped but came back in that fight, fought hard, but Canelo Alvarez was too good. He wins the decision in that fight. Then 2 nights later, May 6th, Naoya Inoue, who made a bid to be the best fighter in the world, pound for pound best in the world, my lord, with a 6-round knockout of Luis Nery. That was an incredible performance, and he keeps the undisputed super bantamweight championship. But boy, I'll tell you what, nothing can compare to Tyson Fury doing it against Oleksandr Usyk. And I have Crawford number 1, Inoue number 2, and Usyk number 3, pound for pound. And I'm gonna change that up and do it on Monday and update my rankings. I want to think about it for another day. But I'll tell you what, that is a hard top 3. After beating Tyson Fury in the kind of fight that he did, he's 2 years older than Tyson Fury. He's 6 inches shorter. He was 38.5 pounds lighter, and he had a 7-inch shorter reach. And he still managed to knock Fury down in the decisive moment of the fight and find a way to win. Is that guy not what would be the epitome of a pound-for-pound fighter in the world? So I have a lot of thinking to do, because this is going to be fun. But this is what boxing can be. Let's get our act together, promoters, and let's do this. TV networks, everybody, put these kind of fights on, and boxing will come back. Believe me, boxing will come back. I hope you enjoyed the fight, everybody. It was really fun for me. It was an incredible day of fight, and it was really capped by, it was a privilege to write about that fight. I'll tell you what, it was a privilege to see it, and it was a privilege to write about it. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. For KevinIole.com, guess what? I am Kevin Iole. See you guys.